In this video, I'm going to explain everything you need to know about traveling to China in 2026. It's much easier than many YouTubers tell you because they start telling you that you need a VPN, that you need Google Maps. I'm telling you right now that you don't need a VPN to travel to China, nor do you need Google Maps, because even without a VPN, with the apps I'm going to tell you to install on your phone, you'll be able to travel around China without any problems. You'll be able to pay, use maps, order taxis, translate images, communicate with a translator, book hotels, buy train tickets, and add people to your contacts without any trouble. In many videos, they start by telling you that you have to install a VPN. Apps like NordVPN, Surfshark, Norton VPN, ExpressVPN, etc. All those apps cost money, about 10 euros a month, and then they don't connect in China. Don't install them because they're useless there. It's very difficult to connect to those apps once you're in China. It happened to me. I had those apps installed. They try to connect, but take a long time, and most of the time they don't connect at all. It's very hard to get them to connect. One of those VPNs connected me to a server in Thailand, but it did not connect to servers in other countries. Don't waste your time and money on those apps because you'll end up trying server after server to connect, and most likely you won't connect to any of them in the end. In other videos, they tell you to install 5 of these VPNs in case the others fail, but don't listen to that advice because you'll just be wasting your money. So, what you should do is install another VPN that I'm going to tell you about. It's a free VPN that they install for you at the Beijing airport. When you arrive there, they'll install it for you at the airport, but you can also bring it pre installed from home, and it's free. With these 6 apps you see on the screen, you can get around China without any problems because they all work without a VPN. These are the ones you absolutely must install on your phone. Without a VPN, you have the China Maps app, the translation app, the taxi app, the Chinese version of WhatsApp, and the most popular ones, AliPay and WeChat. Now I'm going to explain what each one is used for and how to use them. Well, another tip I'm going to give you in this video is about using public transportation in China, because in other videos they tell you that you have to go to the machine to buy subway tickets, and you shouldn't waste your time buying subway tickets at the machine. They make things very complicated for you and don't explain anything, so I'm going to tell you how to use public transportation. And another important tip I'm going to share is about booking hotels in China, because when booking hotels in China, you can't just trust anything. You have to check the reviews. I only recommend booking through trip.com. You have to check the reviews, because if there are only reviews in Chinese, you might be booking a hotel that only accepts Chinese citizens, and then you'll arrive at the hotel and they'll tell you they don't accept foreigners, and you'll have to deal with the stress of finding another hotel as soon as you arrive in China. I'm also going to give you a hotel chain that always accepts foreigners. It's a chain with more than 10 hotels in Beijing and throughout China, and it offers good value for money. So you have to make sure the hotel you book accepts foreigners, because this happened to me on Booking.com. I booked a hotel and didn't read the fine print, and I was booking a hotel that had a condition stating they only accepted Chinese citizens. So you have to be careful about that. I can't give you advice about visas to enter to China. You have to check with the embassy in your country. I can't help you with that. I'm also going to show you how to book tourist attractions in China. My advice is that instead of using WeChat or the websites Chinese people use, we should use Get Your Guide or Viator. I'm going to recommend that you buy a specific type of battery to charge your phone, because only this type of battery will be allowed on the plane for a domestic flight in China. I'm also going to tell you about vegetarian and vegan food in China, because I'm going to show you an app that tells you where there are vegetarian restaurants in China. These are the 2 most famous ones, WeChat and AliPay. This one is for ordering taxis, this one is for translation, and this one is for maps. And this one, Trip.com, is for booking hotels, trains, and flights in China. These are the optional apps. This one is for searching for vegetarian and vegan restaurants in China. This is a currency converter that works without internet. This is a map app that works without internet. This is a free VPN that you can install at Beijing Airport. But I'm going to show you how to download it before you go to China. If you go to an airport other than Beijing, they may not install this app for you. This happened to me at the Chengdu airport in China, where they sold me a SIM card but didn't install the VPN. So it's better to install it before you leave home. The China VPN app is just for simulations because with this application you connect to an IP address in China. So from Spain, Argentina, or Germany, you connect to an IP address in China and simulate being in China. This is useful for checking whether other apps would work in China. For example, if you are worried about whether your bank app will work in China, you only need to connect to it and see if it works when the China VPN is connected. AliPay is used to pay and receive money and has a currency converter. It is also used to pay for public transport with QR codes. You can buy train tickets between cities and all these things, like translation and ordering a taxi. As you can see, I have written here that for many of these functions, it is better to use other applications. AliPay is really just for paying because you can use the public transport codes with QR codes, but I'm going to teach you another method that does not require AliPay. I'm going to show you how to change the language. You have to go to the bottom of the page and click on Account if you have it in English. Then click on the NUT. Then you click on the other symbol here that says General, and then on the symbol that means Language. Here we have the main screen clicking in Home on the bottom left of the screen. This is it. This is the currency converter. You can also translate here. To add a bank card, you have to click on Account, select the bank card, and this screen will appear. Then you have to click on this symbol here that says plus, and it will ask you to enter a bank card. Recommended bank cards for use in China are N26, Revolut, etc. All of those you see here. With Revolut, you can change between euros, pounds, and dollars, as well as different other currencies. The one I use is Starling Bank, which is in pounds. I recommend adding these cards to WeChat and AliPay because other normal bank cards start to charge commission for paying in restaurants and using public transport in China, whereas these cards don't. Use AliPay to pay. Tap Pay Receive to generate a barcode and QR code. With this code, when we go to a shop, they will have a scanner to scan our mobile phone to pay. If we select Receive Money, someone can pay us. Then we have the option to scan to pay, entering the amount to be paid ourselves. Sometimes, for example, you are in a fruit shop buying something of very little value, such as 3 bananas. Then you scan a code that they will have on the wall or on their table, and then you enter the amount you are going to pay. You show it to the shopkeeper, they say it's okay, you press pay, and that's it. It's another way to pay. If we select transport, we can use AliPay to pay for public transport. It is recommended that we change this to the city we are in. If we are not in Beijing, we select the city we are in China. Then we click on transport at the top and this screen appears. This is what comes up for me because I have already downloaded the transport card with the QR code for Beijing. You have a QR code for the bus and another for the metro. Then, with this, you can go to the metro ticket barrier and it opens the door. When you scan that code, the door opens. If we want to change the city, for example, we can do so here, and this screen will appear so you can choose the city. If it's in Chinese, we have to click on this box to translate it. For example, I don't have the code downloaded for this other city, so you have to click on Write by scanning the code. And if you don't get the code, you have to click on Go pick up the card. Then click here to agree and obtain card. There is another way to use the bus and metro that I will explain now. This is what you will find at the Beijing metro station, and it seems to be the same in all of China. This is a scanner where you scan the AliPay QR code. There is a scanner on the bus for you to scan your QR code, but with a European or other country Visa or MasterCard, you can tap there and the door opens without needing to use AliPay. That's how I traveled in Beijing. You tap, the door opens, and it charges you 1.50 euros or so immediately. When you touch the screen on your way out, it refunds the money and then charges you 40 cents, which is very cheap. If your bank card doesn't work, it's better to get a public transport card, because if you scan the AliPay QR code every time you enter the metro, the screen lights up and uses up battery. Also, sometimes it's slow and it takes time for the code to open. So what I recommend is that instead of using the QR code, you go with the bank card directly and tap it. If your bank card doesn't work, you can buy this Beijing public transport card or similar ones in other cities. You can go with the translator and ask the person serving you at the metro station for a public transport card. You can top up this card at the machine. It is recommended that you use a bank card or a public transport card, because in other videos they tell you that you have to buy a ticket from the machine. You don't need to go to the ticket machine, because that's a waste of time. With a loaded transport card or bank card, you can go straight to the gate and avoid wasting time at the machine. To buy the public transport card, you need to bring your passport. In China, it is generally recommended to carry your passport with you at all times in case the police stop you, although they never stopped me. I didn't have this card because I used the bank card to get into the metro. You can buy the card at some metro stations. If you have an iPhone, you can download the Silk Pass app and top up your card from your phone without having to go to the machine. As you can see on this website, here is the symbol for the App Store on an iPhone, and you can download it to your phone from there. This application is not available for other Android phones. It is used for public transport in Beijing, but I don't think it works in other Chinese cities. WeChat is the Chinese WhatsApp. If you click here, a code will appear. This is our contact code in case someone wants to add us to their contacts. The other person scans the code to send a friend request. To change the language, first select Me, then Settings, then Interface and Display, and the option to change the language will appear on the next screen. If it comes up in Chinese, here are the steps. You just have to look for the Chinese letters as indicated here. How to add a bank card. Tap on Me and then on Pay and Service. Then the option Wallet appears. Then we select Bank Cards, click on Add a bank card, and can add 1, 2, or 3, whichever we want. To add a contact, select one of the 3 options below. You can be in Chat, in Contact, or Discover. We click on Add Contact and then on Scan. This code that appears here is our code. If someone wants to add us to their contacts, they can scan this code, or we can scan the other person's QR code to add them to our contacts. In WeChat, we can translate. We just have to select the message. It doesn't matter if the message sent to us is in Chinese or Spanish, and click on the translate symbol, and it will be translated into English. You can translate images and send directions to WeChat in our chat that says Contact in Transfer File. We press Send Message and a screen like this will appear. We press the plus button and the options Gallery, Camera, etc. will appear. We can take a photo of an image that we want to translate or send a photo from our mobile gallery to this chat, which is the file transfer chat. We open the image, click on the three dots, and select Translate to translate it into English. If you have configured WeChat in English, it will translate the image into English. That's why it's important to have it configured to English. This is an example with Chinese text. We can take a photo and translate the image into English. Later in this video, I will show you how to locate your hotel and how to send its location via file transfer. Paying with WeChat is similar to AliPay. We select Plus, and one of these four options appears. We select Scan. This is for scanning the code. As I explained in AliPay, it's like this. This is for small amounts where you usually have to enter the amount you want to pay. For example, at a fruit stall, as I explained before, you buy 3 bananas and the fruit seller has a QR code that you have to scan in their shop, and then you enter the amount to pay. If you click on Money, a QR code will appear on your screen similar to the one on AliPay, which you can then use to pay at the machine. Now I'm going to explain how to buy tickets for tourist attractions in WeChat. You have to click on Discover, then on Many Programs, and then on the magnifying glass to search for whatever you want. Here, you have to write what you want to reserve, for example, Tiananmen Square, or you can write Temple of Heaven in English. Once you are in the application, it will come up in Chinese. You have to click on the three dots to translate. This is the Maps app for Chinese maps because Google Maps doesn't work well here. It won't show you public transport routes and it's said to be unreliable, so never use Google Maps in China. Use this app and it will show you all the public transport routes. This app is undoubtedly the most important app to install for China. It works without a VPN, like all the other apps I recommend in the video, and it will ensure you never get lost walking around China. If you use this app, you won't need to use a VPN, so you can travel around China without a VPN with this app. Here, for example, you can search for anything. For example, if you search for temple, several temples will appear, including the ones that are closest to you. This option only works when you're driving in China. The one I have selected for you shows you the public transport routes, how long it takes to walk, drive, or cycle, as you can see in the screenshot. If you click on the arrow, it will also show you how long it takes to get there by bike. The option with the person and the car is for taxis. I've never used the taxi option here because we have another app for that, which I'll show you later. Here, you can see everything you need to avoid getting lost, just like on Google Maps when visiting any other country. Here, you can see the train and metro lines. If you click here, there is an option to show you the metro lines. To change the language, click here, then click General, and then Language Settings. Here, you can change the language. These are more examples. This is the DIDI app for ordering taxis. The first thing I should mention is that DIDI appears in AliPay, as you can see here, and in WeChat too, but it's not the same and doesn't work in the same way. It's much more confusing to use. When I went to China, I thought I already had DIDI installed and didn't install this app. You have to install it. Don't use this one because it's very confusing and slow and you can't see the cars coming. This is like Uber for China. You need to search for the DiDi China app and install it. It will show you where you want to go. Then you need to go to Account if you want to change the language. If it's in Chinese, look for this little icon and switch it to English. To add your card, go to Account, then Wallet, and tap Payment Method here. And here you can add a credit card directly to the app. You can also link the account to AliPay, and with the AliPay account, you can pay via AliPay. But I'd prefer to use this and add the card directly. And here are some examples. You select the taxi and it arrives. You have to wait and check the license plate number. Wait for that license plate number and it will take you. Baidu Translate. If you're on an iPhone, search for the app in the App Store. It has this little icon. Tap Get and it will install. And if you're on Android, you can't download it from the Play Store. You have to go to Google and type Download Baidu Translate, and this page will come up. This is the Baidu search engine, not the translator, so don't download that one. Click on this page that shows this little icon here and download it here. That's how the app appears. This is the icon for voice translation, and this one is for image translation. To access all the features, you have to unlock the app, and to do that, you need to enter a Chinese phone number, which you don't have. So you can only unlock all the options once you arrive in China and buy a SIM card at the airport, since that card comes with a Chinese phone number. It will show you the translation from English to Chinese here. For now, you can use voice translation and image translation from English to Chinese, and from Chinese to English. But once you change the language from English to Italian, for example, once you tap the voice translator, it will take you here, and this message will appear. It tells you that you need to enter a Chinese phone number here to unlock all the translator's features. Here you have the option to download an offline English to Chinese translator by following these steps. In this app, you can translate any language without entering a Chinese number, but it only works if you type in the text yourself. However, it's much better to use voice translation. When you arrive at Beijing Airport or at any airport or store, buy a SIM card and the Chinese number will appear at the top. Then enter the phone number that appears here. Tap Accept here, press the blue button, and all the app's features will be activated. You can translate from English to Chinese, from English to Vietnamese, from English to Spanish, etc. And you'll have this app forever because it's better than Google Translate. I've used Google Translate and it's full of ads. This app has no ads. That's why I recommend that to unlock this app with all its features, I recommend buying a Chinese phone number when you arrive to China. Here with Google Lens, if you want to translate the screen using Google Lens or WeChat, you can do so. This Trip.com app is for booking hotels, flights, and trains. If you want to change the language, tap Account, then the gear icon, and you'll see Language. This app simulates being connected to the internet in China without having to travel there. It connects us to the Chinese internet from our own country. I recommend this app if you want to check before traveling to China whether any other important apps, like your banking app, for example, will work there. Because you'll be able to check that once you connect to a Chinese server. You'll open YouTube and no videos will load. This means you're connected to the Chinese internet, and you'll also have Facebook and Google search blocked. On WhatsApp, many features like sending audio or images won't work. Google Maps won't work, etc. After connecting to the Chinese internet, you can open any other app to see if it works. In my case, my banking apps worked in China without any issues. You need to search for VPN China on Google Play on your Android phone, and this app will come up. Install it, and you'll see this screen. Then click here where I've circled it and change the IP address. You'll see these addresses. Then you have to select a Chinese IP address. Don't select the one for Hong Kong because Hong Kong has normal internet. It doesn't matter if it says Pro because you can still use it for an hour anyway. You have to choose an address with the Chinese flag and tap Connect here. It connects after you watch an ad. After watching the ad, this screen will appear, and it says here that you have 1 hour to connect. If you tap here on your phone, it'll show that you're connected and display the VPN icon indicating that you're using a VPN. If you tap here, you can disconnect whenever you want. You can do the same test on an iPhone, but you'll need to type VPN China Get Chinese IP in the search bar below. And this app will appear, but it's a paid app. You have to pay $7 a month, although you can cancel the subscription later. The Clash Meta VPN, this one isn't available for iPhone. They install this app for you when you arrive at Beijing Airport. They sell you a SIM card, and with the SIM card, they install this app for free. The thing is, they ask you if your phone is an Android or an iPhone. I was using an Android. If you have an iPhone, they'll install a different app. I don't know which one. You can download this app before arriving in China. Just search for Clash Meta on your phone. Tap the second result with the blue icon you see on the screen. Go here, tap this button, and download it. When you open the app, this screen will appear. Here, you're not using the VPN, it's disabled. And here, you activate it, and the little VPN icon appears at the top. With this VPN, you can't choose which server or country to connect to. But if you search online for Check My IP, there are websites that tell you where you're connecting from. But this app works perfectly in China and is free. It doesn't work well when you're connected to the internet via hotel or airport Wi Fi. Sometimes it disconnects after 10 or 20 minutes, and suddenly the YouTube video you're watching stops. That said, it works perfectly with mobile data. Later on, I'll recommend what you need to do to have all your apps available there in China. This is another app you can find on Google Play. It's a currency converter that works offline. As I mentioned before, you can use the AliPay converter, but this one can be used without an internet connection to convert your currencies to yuan. This can be really useful in an emergency. It's a map app that works without an internet connection. The blue areas here show the maps I've downloaded. If you want to download a map, just zoom in on the area and this download option will pop up. This is Happy Cow, an app for finding vegetarian and vegan restaurants around the world. As you can see, it also works in China. You can download it on Google Play. Here, search for Beijing or any other city, and you'll see different options. Restaurants with vegetarian and vegan options appear in red. Click on a restaurant and this screen will open. Swipe down and a map will appear. Here on the map, you'll see these two symbols. This one opens Google Maps. Never tap this one because, as I've already told you, you should never use Google Maps in China. If you tap the one I've marked in red, this arrow, it says Open and Maps app, and you'll see that you can open it in Amaps or DIDI. I've never opened it with DIDI. Maybe if you open it with DIDI, it will take you to the restaurant's location and you can order a direct taxi, but I'm not really sure. For vegetarian food in China, at any restaurant, if you explain it to them using a translator, tell them, I don't eat meat, I don't eat fish, I don't eat cheese, they'll usually give you the option of noodles with tomato and egg or rice with egg for €2 or less. But if you want to follow a vegan diet without eggs, it's much harder. You can only eat at vegan restaurants and find them through the Happy Cow app. There have been times when I've entered a restaurant's address, and when I arrived at the location the app indicated, where the restaurant was supposed to be, I found there was nothing there. And maybe you've been walking around for 20 minutes or taken public transportation for half an hour to get to the restaurant, only to find there's nothing there, and you have to look for another restaurant. So I don't recommend going out to eat too late, because this can happen to you. If you start looking for a restaurant at 2 p.m., it's better than starting at 4 p.m. because you might get there only to find there's no restaurant. Most restaurants offer these options: noodles with tomato and egg or rice with egg. To get internet in China, you can use an eSIM from Holafly, Saily, etc. But in my case, my phone wasn't compatible with the eSIM. In that case, you have another option: buying a physical SIM card that gets shipped to your home via Amazon or in the CML Link website if you live in Europe. Now I'll show you how to find it on Amazon. Let's go to Amazon. And here we have different options. This one here says it works with Google and WhatsApp, meaning you can access everything, WhatsApp, Facebook, and all the apps that are blocked in China. This comes with the VPN already installed. Here you can change the shipping address. You can select the country. I show you now the CML Link website. We type CML Link in Google. We click on cmllink.com. And here we select Back to China plan. We have two options, one for 20 days and other for 90 days. We press Order Now. After Next Step and in Delivery Address, we can select the country. When you buy this SIM card, you need to read the terms and conditions, and don't activate it or insert it into your phone until 2 days or 1 day before your trip. Because there are many cards where if you insert and activate it 20 days before your trip, for example, and the card has 30 days of usage, as soon as you activate it and insert it into your phone, it will start counting down the days. So you have to be careful to insert it only 1 or 2 days before your trip. What I recommend is buying both the eSIM or the Amazon SIM card, and also a SIM card with a Chinese number that they sell at the airport. If you want to get the Chinese number and be able to download Baidu Translate with all its features, you have to buy a SIM card at the airport. Your phone usually has space for 2 SIM cards, so what I'd recommend is that you only use the SIM card you buy on Amazon or the eSIM when you're at your hotel watching YouTube or checking your email. But when you go out, it's better to use the other SIM card you buy at the airport with a Chinese number, because with that SIM card, you can switch off your VPN when you are on the street. So with that card, when you don't need to use the VPN, you can turn it off, and you can use the apps I showed you earlier. You can use your Maps app, Amap, and your payment app, AliPay, and you won't need the VPN to get around China. The advantage of not having the VPN active and being able to turn it off is that the internet is slower with the VPN, and we don't need the VPN enabled all the time because the 6 apps I showed you at the beginning of the video, WeChat, AliPay, Amap, Baidu Translate, DIDI, and Trip.com, will all work for you on the street without a VPN. As the title of this video says, it's actually a lie what they tell you in other videos about needing a VPN to visit China. With these 6 apps, you can travel through China without a VPN. The thing is, it's a pain not to have the apps we use back home, but know that you won't be lost in China just because for some reason your VPN isn't working. If you urgently need a VPN, the place to get one is the airport. The problem with these cards, the eSIM and the Amazon SIM, is that you don't have an option to disable the VPN. The VPN on this card is always active, and your internet will be slower. That's what they explained to me at the airport in China when I went to buy the SIM card, that without the VPN, the internet was faster. So you have these 2 cards, one to use at the hotel because the Wi-Fi there doesn't have a VPN. As I mentioned before, when you activate the Clash Meta app along with the hotel's Wi-Fi, sometimes after 10 or 20 minutes, it stops working. I don't know why, but you're watching YouTube and suddenly it cuts out and doesn't work properly. So since you have 2 SIM cards, use the Amazon SIM for internet when you're at the hotel, and use the SIM with the Chinese number when you're out and about. To book tourist attractions in Beijing, you can do so via WeChat, Get Your Guide, or Viator. It's best to use Get Your Guide because WeChat is much more complicated. Plus, when booking through WeChat on official Chinese apps, you usually have to book at least 7 days in advance, not before that. But if you book through Get Your Guide or Viator, you can book much further in advance, 2 months, 3 months, etc. The places you need to book in advance in Beijing are the Summer Palace, the Forbidden City, the Temple of Heaven, Tiananmen Square, the National Museum of China, the Great Wall, and Mao's Mausoleum. I'll give you an example of how to book Mao's Mausoleum. You have to open WeChat, go to the Discover tab at the bottom, and then select Mini Programs. If you book the mausoleum this way, it's free, but tickets are hard to get. Well, that's what I did, but now you don't have to do that. You can book through Get Your Guide. You can't bring a backpack inside. There's a place to leave your backpack nearby. Tickets are released 6 or 7 days in advance. Search for Mausoleum, and when it comes up, tap there. Here, tap the 3 dots, select Translate, then Personal Reservations, and enter the date. They usually say tickets go on sale at midnight China time, but I've been checking this and couldn't find any tickets. You have to check every hour, because as soon as they go on sale, they sell out very quickly. As I told you before, it's much better to book through Get Your Guide. Now I'm going to show you how to find Mao's Mausoleum on Get Your Guide, as well as the Temple of Heaven and the other tourist attractions in Beijing that I told you need to be booked in advance. Now I'm going to give you some advice, in case you're worried that your VPN won't work in China, because to book tourist attractions here, we'll need to access our WhatsApp or email. Although I'll tell you now that if you follow the advice I gave you earlier, your VPN should work without any problems. If you want to make sure you have the admission ticket for the tourist attraction you book, you have to do this. Because when you book through Viator or Get Your Guide, they'll tell you they'll send the ticket to your email or WhatsApp about 6 days before your visit, sometimes just 1 day before. So you'll need to keep an eye on your email or WhatsApp. So you'll need to have a VPN set up for this. You can contact them, send them a message through their website, as I'm showing you on the screen, and ask them not only to send the ticket to your email or your cell phone, but also to send it to a friend's phone or email address who lives in England or in your country. Tell that friend to download WeChat and add them to your contacts. Then tell your friend that you'll contact them via WeChat in case you have trouble accessing your email or WhatsApp, so they can send you the entry ticket via WeChat. It's pretty confusing to locate Tiananmen Square and the Forbidden City, because the Forbidden City appears on maps as the Palace Museum, and that's the Forbidden City. Here's the subway line. So as you can see on the map, the Forbidden City is in the north. The Forbidden City is inside this blue box. So I entered here, but you can enter here at any of the points marked in red. And then to the south is Tiananmen Square. And here's the enlarged view. Here is the National Museum of China. Here is the monument to the people's heroes. Here is Mao's Mausoleum. Mao's Mausoleum, the National Museum of China, all of that is inside Tiananmen Square. So if you book through the Get Your Guide app or website, and you buy a ticket for Mao's Mausoleum or the National Museum of China, you can enter Tiananmen Square. You can buy a ticket just for Tiananmen Square, but if you've already bought one for the National Museum of China or the Mausoleum, technically you don't need to buy one for Tiananmen Square. You have to bring your passport, go through security, and your passport will serve as your ticket. When planning your visit, keep in mind that the line is very long. You may have to wait 40 or 45 minutes to enter Tiananmen Square. Now I'm going to give you some tips on booking hotels in China, and later I'll also show you how to find your hotel and send its address to your WeChat. That way, when we arrive in China, we can open WeChat, go to the file transfer section, and locate our hotel on the map. Then we can choose how to get there, either by public transportation or by taxi. If you're booking very cheap hotels, you run the risk that they only accept Chinese citizens, as I explained earlier. What you need to look at are the reviews. If people who aren't Chinese are leaving reviews, then they accept foreign guests. If not, if only Chinese people are reviewing it, it's better not to take the risk and not book that hotel. The brand I recommend is Yin Yang Inn. It has many hotels in China, especially in Beijing. Prices for this hotel brand are usually between 15 and 40 euros per night. This brand always accepts foreigners and offers great value for money. You can look it up on trip.com. Once you book on trip.com, they'll send you a copy of the reservation in your language and another copy in Chinese. I recommend printing out the Chinese copy, and when you're there, if you have any trouble finding the hotel, just give that address in Chinese to a taxi driver and they'll take you there. On the Trip.com app, it's best to use the same account you'll use on your computer to book the hotel. It's better to log into both platforms with your Google account. Tap the yellow letter at the top and log in with your Google account or any other account that appears. Log into your computer with your Google account as well. Go to the top where it says Sign in, Register. Then an option appears here to continue with WeChat. This only appears on the computer, so I wouldn't use it because it gets confusing later. You book a hotel and it doesn't show up on your computer but does on your app. In other words, you have to log into both your computer and your phone with the same account. I'm going to show you how to search for hotels on Trip.com using your computer. When you select a hotel, the nearest subway stations appear, along with the walking distance. It's best to choose a hotel near a subway station. You can zoom in on the map. If you want to search for a specific hotel name, when using the mobile app, you need to search where I've marked the black circle, not where it says hotels. In this case, we're searching for Yin Yang Hotels in Beijing, and several results with that name come up. On the computer, it's the same. You have to click here, go to the main page. Don't use the section here where it shows hotels, and you have to search here where the magnifying glass is. For example, Shanghai Yin Yang or Beijing Yin Yang, and all the hotels with that name will appear. Now I'm going to show you examples of how to locate your hotel on Amaps. You can't transfer this map to Amaps in any way, so you have to make sure the hotel you're booking can be found in your Chinese map app, Amap, so you don't have trouble finding your hotel. That's what I recommend. So it's best to book on the computer, and then use your Amaps app on your phone to check that the addresses match on both Trip.com and Amaps. Now I'll show you an example. Here's the address. If you copy this entire address into your Amap app, it will get messed up and won't take you to the right place. So if you want to find this hotel, which you have on your computer, you have to search for the district. You have to search for this name and enter Chaolan District or Liakshankao 798 into your Amaps app, but don't enter something too long because it won't find it. You have to enter just the street name or just the district name. There, for every hotel, it always shows the district, street, and the city we're in. Now I'll show you several examples. This is an example of some reviews we can find in the app. In this one here, everything is in Chinese. They probably don't accept foreigners, so I don't recommend you choose one of these hotels. Sometimes you'll see street names in Chinese on your phone app or on the website. Using WeChat's translator or Google Lens, as I explained earlier, you can take a photo, send it via file transfer, and translate the street name. For example, if you're on your computer and want to search for this hotel on the Amaps app, type this in and you'll see all these options. We have two possible options here in Xi'an, so we have to check one of these two. Let's look at the first option. For example, this is the wrong address because the map doesn't match what's shown there at all. So in the end, we select the other one, and we can use the nearby subway stations to guide us. This station name is the same as the one shown here. The hotel is located. And then if we zoom in further, we can see the street name. This street name is the same as the one shown in the Amaps app. Now I'm going to look for a Yin-Yang hotel. We've decided to use this name from here, and we get these two options because the district is in Chaolong, and we're looking for one of those two. So we zoom in, and on the map on the website on our computer, it shows that this street is called Yuve P Street. We see that the two streets match, so we've located the hotel. We can also find it more easily using the subway stations that appear. Here we see Gaolaoyan, which is the subway station, located north of the hotel. This Jante station appears to the south. Both stations match on both maps. Now we need to send the hotel's location to WeChat. We follow the steps shown on the screen, tapping the black circles, and send it to WeChat via file transfer. We tap Send. Now our hotel appears there. So every time we open the file transfer, that's what we see. We'll tap there when we arrive in China. Then this will appear with Chinese characters. We just need to tap where it says App on either of these two blue dots, and the Amaps app will open with the hotel's location. Tap Public Transportation if you want to take public transit, and you can take the subway. This option here is for taxis. I don't recommend this because I've never used it. If you tap down there, you'll see different taxi options. When you tap Confirm, a window pops up asking you to enter a phone number. It has to be a Chinese phone number. I'm not sure if this app redirects you to the DIDI taxi app once you enter the phone number, so I don't recommend using it. The best thing to do is take public transportation, and once you exit the nearest subway station, you can order a DIDI. You don't have to give the driver the exact hotel address. You can give an approximate address, mark it on the app, and show your driver your printout in Chinese. You can also show the hotel address on Amaps. I'm going to give you one last tip. I recommend buying 1 or 2 power banks to charge your phone while you're out on the street. In China, there are power banks on the street where you can scan a code and rent one. Then you'll have to return them to any other power bank station. I never did this because I brought 2 power banks with me. So I recommend bringing your own power banks from home since they don't take up any space. You can't just buy any type of power bank if you want to bring it on the plane. They must have the Chinese safety certification, the CCC mark. In theory, for a flight from your country to China and your return flight, they let you bring any battery. But for a domestic flight within China, they'll confiscate your battery at security if it doesn't have the CCC mark. You can't find these types of batteries with the CCC mark on Amazon. You have to buy them on AliExpress. Search for CCC battery, and all the models will appear. Well, and those are all the tips for going to China. As you can see, it's very easy to visit China. You don't even need a VPN. Without a VPN, you can easily visit all the places in China using the apps I've shown you. With the Amaps app, you won't get lost there. With the translator, you can translate without a VPN. So forget the tips you see in other videos about traveling to China, because those videos are very outdated. I hope you'll be inspired to visit China in the future.